Avatar: The Way of Water. Avatar: The Way of Water is a 2022 American epic science fiction film directed and produced by James Cameron, who co-edited the film and co-wrote the screenplay with Rick Jaffa and Amanda Silver from a story the trio wrote with Josh Friedman and Shane Salerno. Distributed by 20th Century Studios, it is the sequel to Avatar 2009 and the second installment in the Avatar film series. Cast members: Sam Worthington, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Joel David Moore, CCH Pounder, Giovanni Ribisi, Dileep Rao, and Matt Gerald reprise their roles from the original film, with Sigourney Weaver returning in an additional role. New cast members include Kate Winslet, Cliff Curtis, Eddie Falco, and Jemaine Clement. In the film, Nzvi Jake Sully Worthington and his family, under renewed human threat, seek refuge with the Mechina clan of Pandora. American film by James Cameron. Avatar 2 redirects here. For other uses, see Avatar disambiguation. Cameron stated in 2006 that he would like to make sequels to Avatar if it was successful, and he announced the first two sequels in 2010, following the widespread success of the first film, with the first sequel aiming for a 2014 release. However, the addition of two more sequels, for a total of 5 Avatar films, and the necessity to develop new technology in order to film performance capture scenes underwater, a feat never accomplished before, led to significant delays to allow the crew more time to work on the writing, pre-production, and visual effects. The filming process, which occurred simultaneously with a currently untitled third film, began in Manhattan Beach, California, on August 15, 2017. The filming location moved to Wellington, New Zealand, on September 25, 2017, and concluded in late September 2020 after 3 years of shooting, with an estimated budget of million. It is one of the most expensive films ever made, following repeated delays in the expected release schedule. Avatar: The Way of Water premiered in London on December 6, 2022, and was theatrically released in the United States on December 16, 2022. The film received generally positive reviews from critics, who praised the film for its visual effects and technical achievements but criticized the plot and lengthy runtime. The film has grossed over $1.75 billion worldwide, becoming the highest-grossing film of 2022 and the 7th highest-grossing film of all time. It was the 6th fastest film to cross the billion-dollar mark, doing so in 14 days, and the 4th film to cross the $1 billion mark since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The film also received numerous accolades, including nominations for Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Director at the 80th Golden Globe Awards. 12 years after the Nzvi repelled the human invasion of Pandora by the Resources Development Administration (RDA), Jake Sully lives as chief of the Omaticaya clan and raises a family with Neytiri, which includes sons Netium and Loak, daughter Tuk, and an adopted daughter, Kiri, born from Grace Augustine's inert avatar. His children are inseparable from a human boy named Spider, the son of Colonel Miles Quaritch, who was born on Pandora and was unable to be transported to Earth in cryostasis due to his infancy. To the novice dismay, the Ardea returns to prepare Pandora for human colonization, as Earth is dying. Among the new arrivals are recombinant Nzvi avatars implanted with the minds and memories of deceased human soldiers, with Quaritch's recombinant serving as their leader. A year later, Jake is leading a guerrilla campaign against the RDA. During a counterinsurgency mission, Quaritch and his subordinates capture Jake's children. Jake and Neytiri arrive and free them, but Spider remains captured by Quaritch, who recognizes him as his son. After the RDA fails to coerce Spider to divulge information through torture, Quaritch decides to spend time with him in order to draw Spider on his side, and in turn, Spider teaches Quaritch about Nzvi culture and language. Aware of the danger Spider's knowledge of his whereabouts poses to their safety, Jake and his family exile themselves from the Omaticaya and retreat to the Mechina Reef People clan at Pandora's eastern seaboard. Although Jake and his family are given refuge, they are viewed with antipathy from some of the tribesmen due to their human heritage, as Jake, Loak, and Kiri all possess 10 fingers and toes rather than 8. Nevertheless, the family learns the ways of the Reef People. Kiri develops a spiritual bond with the sea and its creatures, and Loak befriends Syria, the daughter of clan chief Tanori and his wife Ronaloik gets into a fight with Syria's brother Anon when he returns to apologize at Jake's insistence. Anon and his friends entice him to a trip into the territory of a dangerous sea predator and leave him stranded. Loak is saved and befriended by Pakin, a Tulkanen intelligent and pacifistic cetacean species whom the Mechana consider their spiritual family. Upon his return, Loak wins Anam's friendship by taking the blame for the trip, but is told that Pakin is an outcast among his species. On a trip to the Mechana spirit tree, which is underwater, Kiri links with it and meets her mother, whose consciousness lives within the planet due to her dying as she was connected. However, their meeting is cut short when Kiri suffers a seizure and falls unconscious. Jake summons Norm Spellman and Max Potel for help using their modern medical equipment. Who diagnose Kiri with epilepsy and warn that she cannot risk connecting to the spirit tree again. Although Kiri is saved by the intervention of Ronal, Quaritch is able to track the aircraft used by Spellman and Potel to the archipelago where the reef people live. Bringing Spider with him, he commandeers a whaling vessel which is hunting Tulkans to harvest their brain enzymes for anti-aging remedies called Amrita. Quaritch and his subordinates travel throughout the archipelago, brutally interrogating the indigenous tribes about Jake's location. When this proves fruitless, he orders the whaling crew to kill Tulkans near the villages in order to draw Jake out. Knowing that it will enrage the tribes, Loak mentally links with Pakin and learns that the Tulkan was cast out because he went against the pacifist ways of his species and attacked the whalers who killed his mother, resulting in the deaths of many Tulkan and Nisvu. When the Mechana learn of the Tulkan killings, Loak takes off to warn Pakin, followed by his siblings, Syria, Anon, and Roko. They find Pakin being chased by the whalers, and Loak, Syria, and Tuk are captured by Quaritch. With their children in danger, Jake, Neytiri, and the Mechana set out to confront the humans. Quaritch forces Jake to surrender, but upon seeing Loak imperiled, Pakin attacks the whalers, triggering a fight that kills most of the crew and cripples the vessel. Netium rescues Loak, Syria, and Spider, but is shot by Quaritch's men and succumbs to his wounds shortly after. Jake faces Quaritch, who uses Kiri as a hostage. When Neytiri does the same with Spider, Quaritch at first denies his relationship with him, but desists when Neytiri cuts Spider across the chest before raising her knife to kill him. Jake, Quaritch, Neytiri, and Tuk end up trapped inside the sinking vessel. Jake strangles Quaritch into unconsciousness and is rescued by Loak and Pagan, while Kiri summons sea creatures to help her save Neytiri and Tuk. Spider rescues Quaritch, but refuses to go with him and rejoins Jake's family. After Netime's funeral, Jake informs Tanori and Ronal of his decision to leave the Mechana. Tanori, however, respectfully identifies him as part of the clan and welcomes his family to stay. Jake and his family accept and forge a new life at sea, with Jake vowing to resume his campaign against the human invaders. Newsip. Main article, Avatar. The Way of Water soundtrack. Avatar composer James Horner was originally reported to score music for the franchise before his death in a plane crash in June 2015. In December 2019, Simon Franglen, who had previously worked with both Cameron and Horner as record producer and arranger since Titanic, including on Avatar, notably completing Horner's score for The Magnificent Seven after his passing, was reported to write music for the film. Landau confirmed his involvement in the project in August 2021, while also associating with the forthcoming Avatar sequels. Horner's score will be reused in the film, in addition to the original themes produced by Franglen. The scoring for the film officially began on July 29, 2022, at the Newman Scoring Stage in 20th Century. The soundtrack album was released on December 16, 2022, by Hollywood Records. An expanded score album, featuring 10 more tracks from the original score, was later released on December and November. It was reported that the film would feature an original song titled Song Chord, which will be performed by Franglen and Zoe Saldana. The following month, it was announced that Canadian singer The Weeknd will contribute an original song, Nothing Is Lost You Give Me Strength, to the film, produced by Franglen and Swedish supergroup Swedish House Mafia. Marketing. The film's title was revealed at the 2022 CinemaCon. Disney extensively promoted Avatar, The Way of Water across multiple media platforms, including merchandising, consumer products, theme parks, and advertising at the 2022 CinemaCon. The new title for the sequel was officially announced, and the first teaser trailer was debuted at the event, along with 4 new first-look images showing off the adventures of the Nazi on and off the coasts of Pandora. It was theatrically showcased at the premiere of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and was later released online on May 9. The teaser finished its first 24-hour online window with 148.6 million views, including 23 million from China alone, according to Disney and 20th Century. Grant Ridner of GQ commented the trailer features minimal dialogue and primarily focuses on shots of the Cyril in Pandora and its residents, as well as indigenous flora and fauna. However, Stuart Heritage of The Guardian criticized the teaser, saying that there isn't a trace of premise here, or character, or any real action to speak of. Instead, we're given a minute and a half of nice-looking scenery. It's like being held hostage to look at someone's holiday photos. Lewis Chilton of The Independent also felt that the trailer feels rather too much like a tech demo or the trailer for a long-gestating video game sequel in June 2022. The teaser was edited by Disney ahead of the theatrical screenings of Pixar's Lightyear, where sequences featuring Sully hold a rifle and few guns were edited. According to Russ Burlingame of Comic Book Resources, the trailer was edited due to public sentiments to avoid glorifying gun violence as Lightyear released after the Robb Elementary School shooting incident, while Theraps Drew Taylor opined that the change was made on the request of Motion Picture Association for attaching the trailer with PG-rated films. New set photos were released by Empire on June 30, showing Kate Winslet and Cliff Curtis in their Nisby forms, and subsequent photos were released on the following day, showing Sigourney Weaver as Jake and Neytiri's adopted teenage Nisby daughter, Curie. Though the film was not promoted at the San Diego Comic-Con event, LEGO released 4 new sets from the franchise as a part of the promotion site. Minutes of the film's footage were showcased in at the Expo on September 10, 2022. McFarlane Toys had launched several action figures based on the characters and creatures, which were unveiled at the event. The collections were officially released on October 1. A second excerpt from the film was shown during the credits of the Avatar re-release on September 23, which evidently varies in different versions and screenings. The official trailer was released on November 2 at Good Morning America. New poster characters were released on November 21, and the second and final trailer was also released then. An 18-minute clip of never-seen-before footage from the film was exclusively released at the CCXP convention on December 2. The footage features independent storylines surrounding Jake's character and events occurring several years since the first film. Disney initiated the environmental global campaign, Keep Our Oceans Amazing, to support the Nature Conservancy in the conservation of marine habitats and animal species. A concept art book titled The Art of Avatar, The Way of Water, written by Tar Bennett and foreword by Robert Rodriguez, was made available for pre-order in October 2022 and was set to be released simultaneously with the film. Another book titled Avatar: The Way of Water, The Visual Dictionary by Joshua Izzo is also set to be released with the film deadline. Hollywood estimated that advertisers paid more than $170 million for promos. Lightstorm Entertainment and Mercedes-Benz revealed the Vision, a VTR concept car inspired by the film at the Consumer Electronics Show in 2020. Amazon Echo enabled interactions for its Alexa virtual assistant based on the film, the first time it did so for any film. In China, Disney partnered with Adacom and Alipay for advertising, while Razer Inc. launched the Yaki Orachi Avatar computer mouse in the country themed after the film. NYX Professional Makeup, owned by Lizerl, promoted a lineup of makeup products inspired by the film. Kellogg's launched an estimated 53 million Avatar-themed packages across its 3 labels. Motorola Mobility and Deutsche Telekom partnered with Disney to promote the film in Latin America and EMEA, respectively. Avatar: The Way of Water's world premiere was held on December 6, 2022, at the Odeon Lux Leicester Square in London. The film was theatrically released in the United States on December 16, 2022, with distribution by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures through the 20th Century Studios label. The film is the first in the series to be released under Disney since its acquisition of both 20th Century Studios and the rights to Avatar in 2019. The film was released in real Dolby Cinema, IMAX, and IMAX formats. Select showings also had support for a dynamic high frame rate of up to 48 frames per second. The Way of Water, alongside the forthcoming sequels, was released in Dolby Vision. The Way of Water is one of the widest releases ever given for a Disney film, debuting on over 12,000 screens in the United States and Canada and 40,000 international. The film was subjected to 8 delays, as the crew took more time on the writing, pre-production and visual effects process. Initially in late 2010, the film was scheduled for release in December 2014. By mid-2013, Cameron originally intended Avatar 2 to be released in December 2015, which was subsequently delayed to 2016 and then to 2017. In April 2016, Cameron announced 4 Avatar sequels which would be released in December 2018, 2020, 2022, and 2023, but in March 2017, he stated that this film would not be released in 2018 due to extensive production and the visual effects process. In April 2017, a new release date of December 18, 2020 was announced, with all other sequels, Avatar 3, 4, and 5 releasing on December 17, 2021, December 20, 2024, and December 19, 2025, respectively. However, following the announcement of the 3 upcoming Star Wars films in May 2019, the sequels were delayed another 2 years, with this film being scheduled to be released on December 17, 2021. The release date was again deferred due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in August 2020, a new release date of December 16, 2022 was announced. Mentioning the delays, Cameron felt optimistic that they would not harm the film's success, likening Avatar 2 to his films Aliens 1986 and Terminator 2, Judgment Day 1991, which were both commercially successful sequels released 7 years after the original films. The film was also approved for release in China, making it one of the few Hollywood blockbusters to be greenlit for distribution in the country. In July 2022, Empire revealed the runtime was around 3 hours at that stage in production. In November 2022, the film's runtime was revealed to be 192 minutes, 3 hours, and 12 minutes. In the Empire interview, Cameron stated, "I don't want anybody whining about length when they sit and binge watch for 8 hours. I've watched my kids sit and do 5 one-hour episodes in a row. Here's a big social paradigm shift that has to happen. It's okay to get up and go pee. Avatar: The Way of Water is the second Disney-distributed film and the second 20th Century Studios film, after Avengers, Endgame, and Titanic respectively, to exceed 3 hours in length. Theater attendees watching the film in Barcelona as of January 10, 2023, Avatar: The Way of Water has grossed $525.70 million in the United States and Canada and $1.22 billion in other territories, for a worldwide total of $1.75 billion. It had a worldwide opening of $441.70 million, the 11th of all time, and the 3rd largest in the pandemic era behind Spider-Man: No Way Home $601 million and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness $452.40 million. IMAX accounted for $48.80 million, the second highest global weekend ever for a film released in IMAX cinemas. It is the highest grossing film of 2022 and the 7th highest grossing film of all time. Additionally, it is the 4th film to reach the $1 billion milestone post-pandemic after Spider-Man, No Way Home, Top Gun, Maverick, and Jurassic World Dominion, as well as the 6th fastest overall to reach the milestone by December 14. Prior to the film's domestic release, Box Office Pro projected an opening weekend in the United States and Canada of million, and with a total final domestic gross of million, the film made $53.20 million on its first day, including $17 million from Thursday night previews. It went on to debut to a $134.10 million weekend, nearly double the original's opening of $77 million, coming in below expectations while finishing first at the box office. Deadline Hollywood and Variety noted strong audience exit scores, the small day-to-day drop, limited competition from other films, and upcoming Christmas holiday all indicated likely strong legs at the box office. The film made $63.30 million in its second weekend, a drop of 8%, and $95.60 million over the four-day Christmas weekend, remaining atop the box office. The lower second weekend gross was partially due to the December 2022 North American winter storm. In the third weekend, it grossed $67.40 million for an increase of 1%, and also grossed $88.80 million through the four-day New Year weekend, while becoming the second highest grossing film of 2022 in the region outside the US and Canada. The film grossed $307.60 million in 52 countries in its first week of release. The largest openings for the film by the end of the week were in China $56.80 million, South Korea $24.90 million, France $21.70 million, Germany $19.40 million, and India $19.20 million. In the second weekend, it grossed $168.60 million for a drop of 8%. In the third weekend, it grossed $186.70 million, an increase of 1% from the previous weekend. In the fourth weekend, it grossed $132.60 million for a drop of 8%. While becoming the highest-grossing film of the pandemic era outside the US and Canada. The five largest running total countries by January 8 are China $188.30 million, France $107.20 million, Germany $92.60 million, South Korea $85.60 million, and the United Kingdom $69.10 million. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, a percentage of 405 critics' reviews are positive, with an average rating of. The website's consensus reads, narratively, it might be fairly standard stuff, but visually speaking, Avatar: The Way of Water is a stunningly immersive experience. Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 67 out of 100, based on 68 critics, indicating generally favorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of on an A to F scale, the same as the first Avatar, while Posttrack reported a percentage of audience members gave the film a positive score, with a percentage saying they would definitely recommend it. Positive reviews focused on the visual spectacle of the film and advocated seeing it in as large a format as possible. Chicago Sun-Times critic Richard Roper highlighted the film's visuals as some of the most dazzling, vibrant, and gorgeous images ever seen on screen. Variety critic Owen Gleiberman praised the film as a dizzyingly spectacular sequel with miraculously sustained combat sequences, scenes that will make your eyes pop, your head spin, and your soul race, and state-of-the-art, never in your face, just images that look and feel sculpted. Makes the film's every underwater glide feel as experiential as one that you're literally on. On the other hand, Gleiberman felt that the story is basic, with a string of serviceable clips, bare-bones dialogue, and little dimensionality to the characters. The Atlantic critic David Sims said that the film will wow audiences and exhibit new delights in the alien world of Pandora, while noting that the film gets off to a slow start that is busy with plot details as the film updates the audience on the past decade-plus of Pandoran life. Los Angeles Times critic Justin Chang hailed Cameron as one of the few Hollywood visionaries who actually merits that much-abused term, and stated that the film will stun most of his naysayers into silence, while also praising the film's tenderness and sentimentality. Entertainment Weekly critic Leah Greenblatt summed up her review of The Way of Water, saying that it created its own whole-cloth reality, a meticulous world-building as astonishing and enveloping as anything we've ever seen on screen until that crown is passed. Inevitably, in December 2024, the projected release date for Avatar. However, some critics felt the film was too long and the story not in-depth enough to justify the length. The New Yorker critic Anthony Lane opined the film is more than 3 hours long, some of it dangerously close to dawdling. Not until the final third does Cameron apply the whip and remind us that, in the choreographing of action sequences, he remains unsurpassed. The Guardian critic Peter Bradshaw was critical of the scathingly bland plot and noted that despite the shift in setting, there isn't a single interesting visual image. San Francisco Chronicle reviewer Mick LaSalle called it a 1-hour story rattling around in a 192-minute bag, while acknowledging that it looks pretty good, incorporating one of the best uses of 3D to date. with visuals that seem to have been conceived in 3 dimensions. The Telegraph critic Robbie Collins said that the film has no plot, no stakes, and atrocious dialogue, and that for all its world-building sprawl, The Way of Water is a horizon-narrowing experience, the sad sight of a great filmmaker reversing up a creative cul-de-sac. Toronto Star commented that the film was poorly received by Indigenous peoples in Canada, being viewed as trying to portray the colonial struggles of an Indigenous population, with reviewer Drew Hayden Taylor noting it's also rather conventional in its own way and somewhat boring. Predictable. I've been involved in crooked card games with a less foreseeable storyline. Main article. List of accolades received by Avatar, The Way of Water. The Way of Water was nominated for 5 Critics' Choice Movie Awards and 2 Golden Globe Awards. It was named one of the 10 best films of 2022 by the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute. Sequels. Main articles. Avatar 3 and Avatar: The Way of Water is the first of 4 planned sequels to Avatar. Avatar 3 started filming simultaneously with this film in New Zealand on September 25, 2017. Cast members from previous films, including Worthington, Salda, Lang, Weaver, Pounder, Winslet, Curtis, Ribisi, Moore, Rao, Gerald, Dalton, Bliss, Champion, Bass, and Gelio have all been announced to return, while Una Chaplin, Michelle Yeoh, and David Thewlis will be playing new Char actor Shalfa. The last 2 sequels have been reportedly greenlit. Cameron stated in a November 2017 interview, "Let's face it, if Avatar 2 and 3 don't make enough money, there's not going to be a 4 and 5. Thewlis later confirmed this in February 2018, stating they're making 2 and 3. They're gonna see if people go and see them, and then they'll make 4 and 5. Conversely, Weaver stated in November 2018, after the first 2 sequels had completed main photography, that she was currently busy doing Avatar 4 and 5, which several media outlets interpreted as confirmation that the last 2 sequels had started filming in January 2019, in face of the proposed acquisition of 21st Century Fox by the Walt Disney Company. Disney CEO Bob Iger confirmed that both Avatar 4 and Avatar 5 are being developed but have not been officially greenlit. According to producer Landau in February 2019, Iger may have been misinterpreted. He said that Avatar 4 and 5 are not only but also a third of Avatar 4 has already been filmed. Following the box office success of Avatar 2, Cameron confirmed that the sequels are effectively greenlit. "It looks like, with the momentum that the film has now, that we'll easily pass our break even in the next few days. So it looks like I can't wiggle out of this, and I'm gonna have to do these other sequels." Cameron said in January 2023, "I know what I'm going to be doing the next 6 or 7 years.